I have a allegory. Because people like me, we were trained relentlessly, rigorously, forcefully, perhaps a little bit too forcefully, in all manner of figurative thinking. So allegory fits in there. Allegory, what? A story. A metaphorical story. Or an analogical story. How about that? I don't know. So, okay. In roughly 1995, must have been fall, maybe, 1995, I lived in It's irrelevant. Sorry, now I'm looking out my window at the guy. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, that's a distraction. Okay. So, as I was mentioning on a previous oratory, for regardless the reasons, was exposed from a very young age to all manner of mystical work groups, religious traditions, you name it. And this was mainly my mother's influence, and because of the fact that she is a learned person, eminently patient, quite wise, she only would expose me to stuff that she had thoroughly vetted. Now, this is a lady who in the early 60s, when LSD research had started to be being done, is that the way it goes, Dr. Chomsky? Had started to be being done. LSD, lysergic acid, diethylamide. Had started, is there something in my teeth? Lysergic acid, diethylamide. So, I don't know. Maybe I should, there are enough things in the world that are called lysergic acid diethylamide. I don't think that has to be one of them. And anyway, I think I already named it in a previous oratory. Okay. 1995. Dale and I, my mother, we were in Atlanta. And my guess is that it was a Friday night or a Saturday night. No, they didn't. There were meetings maybe Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I don't know. In the evenings. So Jan spoke for an hour, of course, and or thereabouts, and it was quite a decent-sized crowd. Could have been 50 people in there, but of course, how old was I at that time? 15? No. 15. 20. In 1995, I was 20 years old. 20 years old. So we had already been working with Jan for 5 years. at that point in 1990. Well, I'm not going to cheat the body English toward the more robust number. I'll cheat it toward the smaller number. Let's say 3 years. So if it was 95 minus 3 is 92. So, yeah, very conservatively, I know that I was, by 1992, I was already taking Jan basically more seriously than any other thinker. I mean, compared to Jan, I had never met a thinker. So the contrast was overwhelming for me. It just kind of left everybody that I knew in the dust. And that was when I was 15. So by the time I'm 20 and we're hanging around and we're taking trips to Atlanta and hanging around other, lifers who are kind of like plugged into it for good, for one way or another, one reason or another, whether it's lineage, upbringing, social mishap, whatever. But, mystical work groups, cults, exploitation, charlatans, you name it. It is a madhouse. Talk to Indians, they'll tell you about it. India is the deepest religious country in the world, by a country mile, in fact. There are literally thousands of religions in India alone. Thousands of well-differentiated religious traditions. Okay? So, that's the cloth that, no, it's not this cloth, but anyway, being cut from cloth and being dyed in wool, right? And being cutter of the cookie? No, that's Kant. Or no, that was, I never mind. Okay. Cutter. Qatar. Wrong. Okay, so after Jan talked, Jan probably went home. I don't think he really hung out after meetings, except if it was a Saturday night or St. Quantum's Day or something. So there was a group of us that we went out, and I know I'm guessing that Worth Baldwin, you were there, and that your, at the time, wife, Jane, was there. I know Marcia was there. John and Fran were there. John Fran Merritt. Who else? Me and Dale. Stu Charno may have been there. Jeff Charno may. I think Jeff was. Because, there were several of us from LA that would appear. It's like if one of us were going, it was kind of like it would just turn into a thing. And of course, that happened with Jazz Fest a few times in New Orleans. And it was great fun. So, anyway, we're at Athens Pizza. I don't know how far Athens Pizza is from Fuzzy's. But y'all Atlanta types do. Shouts to Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way. What a performance. Holy smokes. Okay, so 1995, the group that I just described, we're at Athens Pizza. Like a kind of suburb of Atlanta. And there were some other people that we had not seen. There at any kind of like secret mystical work group that you show up to. There are regulars, there are like people in positions of authority. There are like total fuck ups that don't even know, like Like, for example, the old lady, bless her heart, that, when in LA, we're sitting down to a meeting to listen to some lectures of Jan's, and the lady wanted to listen to a video concert on VHS of Victor Borge instead. Bless her heart. I don't remember her name. But so anyway, my point is, this is par for the course. I mean, you've got, if you put together a small secret cult, right, of 20 or 30 people, it's a little cross-section of society. You get all types. For whatever reason, they wound up there instead of in Congress or something. So we're sitting in Athens Pizza, and we all got to talking and exchanging notes, and there was a gentleman, I don't remember what he looked like, and I don't remember what he sounded like, but he'd clearly been around the block, so to speak, enlightenment-wise. I mean, when it comes to enlightenment, you wake up once, you wake up twice, you wake up half a dozen times, then you start counting the prime numbers. Then it goes 13, 19, right? So what do you mean times that you woke up? Professor Hegel, come on. Jesus. Professor Hegel, I don't even think it's 10 a.m. in the morning yet. All right. Enough with the philosophy jokes. Usually philosophers don't even laugh at them. So this gentleman got to telling a story. He got to telling, this is the allegory now. So I guess it's an allegory within my allegory, because I'm delivering you an allegory right now, but the allegory itself, my delivery of it, depends on an embedded allegory inside the content. So now I will expound and explicate. The analytic, no, it's not an analytic. Analytic is just a plain description. Okay, so this gentleman, he had been around the block, so to speak, enlightenment-wise, and he told the story, I think it was of a man that he had met. Now you can see already, you can also understand the ways that the grammatical places, once you get sufficiently deeply into like hard, in your face, mystical, rational philosophy, that all the grammatical positions turned into psychoanalytic positions. And all the psychoanalytic positions, turn back into alphabetical positions. So whether you're so sure or SAUSSURE or SO space SURE, so sure or so sure, right? Or whether you're Derrida or whether you're Foucault or whether you're Gottlob Frege, everybody's got a theory of signification. They're all more or less okay because everybody's got fucking amazing arguments. Don't ever forget that if you come across a professional philosopher, whether it's a book that you opened or your next door neighbor, if they're a professional, they're giving you seriously badass arguments, whether they're Hume or Spinoza. It doesn't get any more different than that, right? Spinoza, Deus sive natura, everything is inside, everything is immanent, period. It's pure, hard, thick, industrial strength metaphysics. Spinoza. Pure vitalistic, Deus sive natura, you can look it up and you know what that means. On the other side, you have David Hume, right? Hume says, will the sun rise tomorrow? Well, I guess. Why do we know that? Well, custom and habit, and so on. So what do we know? What do we know? Well, if you notice geometric truths, like if you cross two lines on a chalkboard, I remember Edwin McCann, he did the example. He drew the lines like this, on the chalkboard, and then with real thick chalk. And so when you cross two chalk lines like that, where they intersect, it's not a point. It's not a geometric point like the way Euclid would define. No, it's like a smudge, right? So Hume looks at it and he says, "You say, okay, where's the point? Can you point to the point? Yeah, where is it, right?" So Hume is always going to look at raw experience and say, "Look, I have this perception here right in front of me. And you tell me that you find all these things, Dr. Spinoza, right? All these things that are in the mind of who's that? In the mind of all things, in the mind of Henri Bergson, right? Occasions, occasionalism, Jah, Rastafari, something. But then Hume, right? Hume's like metaphysics, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't even know if I exist. I mean, I guess there's some perceptions. The end. What time's the pub open? Did you hear what happened to my neighbor last night? Yeah. Well, see, his wife found out. Oh, Hume, you're so gossipy. I mean, you. Everybody says that you're eminent thinker, but you're always just gossiping and making jokes and stuff. I don't get it. Me neither. Okay. That was Hume, by the way, not me. I get it. Hume did. Anyway. So, okay. So, there's a man in Venice. No. The man in the story, he is somewhere in India. And I guess we're to imagine it's Rajneesh. No reason not to imagine that it's Rajneesh. I don't think the name Rajneesh was used, however. However, it's quite in line with Rajneesh's style, which which is very well known. Of course, it also kind of looks like Sai Baba. Sai Baba was a very famous big afro, right? I mean, he just looks like the archetypal charlatan. I mean, he would do things like he would. Like gold watches and stuff, and he would he would literally do like magic tricks and be like, "Look, it's because I'm enlightened." And then I'd do whatever they do, like the the Hindu version of like Pentecostal seizures or something. I don't know. But my uncle Steve Johnson, peace be upon him, he was really into Sai Baba. Talk about a religious thinker. Jeez, holy smokes. Nobody understood my dear Uncle Steve. Nobody on earth. Okay. So we're imagining a guy from Venice Beach that winds up standing in front of Rajneesh. Now, it's actually Rajneesh Prime, okay? It's not Rajneesh. It's false. This is all false. It's fictitious discourse. Just remember, this is an allegory, okay? It's just a two-step allegory. It's like a two-level embedded allegory or something. It's a two-place predicate. Is it a telic pair? Oh, Hartree Field. You've got to weigh in on this stuff. Is it a telic pair or a telic pair? So, anyway, this is what happens. The man from Venice Beach, California, is standing in front of the guru somewhere in India. And let's say that the man asks the guru, can you give me what you have? And the guru says, sure. Are you ready for me to give it to you? And then the guy says, okay, I'm ready. Tell me what tell me what I'm supposed to do. And the guru says, okay, my assistant has the catalog. You know I like watches, right? My assistant has the catalog. After we talk right now, I've got to go. Right now, I'm walking out right now. But my assistant has a catalog, right? It's like she has all the catalogs. She's got the Patek, Rolex, obviously. She's got all the catalogs, but like crazy shit. All the everything Geneva, like. And he tells the student or interlocutor. He says, she will point out some options for you, my assistant. Actually, you can tell her that you want 3 options, and she'll give you 3 options of like the top 3 watches that I want for myself, okay? And just get me one of those. If you do, then you'll be enlightened. So the the man gets with the assistant, and they sit down. They get all these all of these watch catalogs out from all of these Leibniz companies, Leibniz makers. Swiss chocolates, Zurich. No, I mean bank boxes. Matt Damon, Born Identity. Okay. And so somehow or other, the man from Venice decides on some watch from the catalog, and the price, the retail price of he doesn't know where he's going to procure the I guess people who buy watches shop around. I don't know how it works really. And for the low price of $80,000 for a watch, it's for people that like watches, it's nothing. And the guy from Venice is like, I don't know, maybe it's not described how his reactions are not described at all. Just the order of events, just his decision process, the decision tree is all that's described. We don't know his motivations, whether or not he became enlightened or whatever. So he goes back to Venice, and he like starts a business or something, painting signs, I guess, on Venice Beach. And he works for half a year, and puts together enough money to buy this watch. And he gets hold of the watch, and he verifies it's the same one. I guess he's got the record from the catalog. And so he goes back to India, and he goes to the guru, and he says, guess what? And he hands the guru the watch. And as he does it, he says, well, I guess I'm enlightened now, huh, motherfucker? No, that was my, that's editorializing. No, we are to assume that the actual story is that the man simply hands the watch to the guru, and the guru takes it and looks at it and says, "Oh, thank you," like that. Then there's an individual, we don't know who, how old, whatever. There's an individual standing right next to and staring at the watch. And that individual then has the same reaction, envy, but envy. Now the person who, the guru just accepted the watch. So the guru's eye hit the watch and said, "Ooh, thank you," like that. But the guru already knows that all that a gold watch is basically, it's like the most filthy object. It's one of the more filthy objects in the world. Because all that's happening is, it's a magnet for envy. And what is envy? Envy is a very, very strong, hostile, very, very strong, aggressive instinct, envy. So the person next to the guru is staring at the watch with a covetous eye, if we speak Bible. I don't know. Are we supposed to speak Bible? Dear President what's your name? Paramapurusha. Dear President Paramapurusha, are we teaching Bible yet? Do our students speak Bible yet at school? Okay, so there's a covetous eye comes from the side to the guru and the watch. And the person stares at the watch and says, "Oh my, that's beautiful." And there's no hesitation. The guru smiles. He looks at the man. It's not a man. We don't know who it is. I said we don't know who it is. I don't know who it was. It's a hypothetical. It's an allegory. The point is not who the person was. Okay. Interesting slip, though, dear Freud. I guess I need all these people to be men. Okay. So the covetous eye says, "Wow, that's beautiful." And the guru immediately looks at the man, smiles, says, "Do you like it?" Like this. "Do you like it?" And the person just nods like that and says, "Yeah." And the guru says, "Well, you may have it," and hands it to him. You will notice that it is kind of a similar structure. I haven't thought it through very deeply. It kind of runs in parallel to the Colonel Kurtz structure in Apocalypse Now, but it is also parallel to another structure. Now let's consider for a moment what the archetypes are involved in this allegory that I have provided. What are these archetypes? Well, there's an earnest seeker, right? There is an earnest seeker. The essence of this student, the person who searches for truth, is their sincerity. And for the person who sincerely searches after truth, internally there is no inconsistency to resolve. So the person who is earnestly searching after truth beyond all limits, if somebody tells them, okay, in order to know the truth, you have to do such and such. You have to read the Bible. You have to bring me this watch that I want. If you're wired for it, like, basically philosophers, you're like, you don't even think, it's not part of your thought process to wonder like whether or not this is a legitimate challenge. It doesn't even become part of the discourse. The question automatically defaults to, am I capable of this? Can I pull this off? And then when you realize you can, you go back to the teacher. And if they're a good teacher, they say, bravo, you have graduated. And if they're a shit teacher, they do something else. So this particular example is an outstanding because of its ambivalence. Because on the one hand, it really kind of degrades or devalues the thing itself, supposedly the MacGuffin, the watch. It devalues the watch in giving it away, but at the same time, giving the watch away is a kind of symbolic confirmation by the guru that the guru himself can meet the challenge himself. In other words, is the guru himself then gonna cling to an $80,000 watch and say, well, thank you very much, now it's mine, finders keepers, motherfucker, right? No. A real teacher's not gonna do that. A real teacher might put the watch on because it's nice. But literally, I mean, this is why, like in whatever it is, Pashtunwali or ancient cultures, right? Ancient methods. This is as ancient method as it gets. Ancient method as it gets. Somebody has their eye on something that you own. It means that somehow there's a connection between that person and that thing, and maybe you don't get in the middle of it unless you immediately need that thing. But if you just give it to the person, I mean, you didn't sign a contract or something. I mean, just say, take it. I mean, now what are they going to say? Well, before I take it, now is this a loan or are you giving this to me outright? That's such an American sort of or Western sort of question. It's like, it's very disrespectful also of objects, because objects, after all, I mean, if we covet them, they're valuable. So we have to respect them. You can't have it both ways. These fucking objects, it's all worthless. But then you spend your life working for it? No. You can't have it both ways like that. You can kind of have it Pareto or something. I mean, make your compromise. Like, think about it is the point. So anyway, now messengers don't always announce themselves, and they don't always know to themselves, within themselves, maybe even anything that they're doing. And this finally, after contemplating this ever since 2015, 2016, whenever Donald Trump became utterly conspicuous and visible, I started really just like trying to think like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What am I looking at? What am I looking at? Because it's obviously a foreign thing, as has been, articulated very well over the preceding 10 years. So, I wager, and I will defend the claim that Donald Trump is a kind of messenger. What kind of messenger, we don't know. Some kind of religio-political, pardon me, Mr. President, President Paramapurusha, that's your name. Okay. And that is a very respectful name, actually. It means, I'm not going to tell you what it means. You can look it up, right? So in other words, if one is a messenger, one might not have very much inner transparency. Like, for example, for me with myself, I mean, whatever about the religious stuff. Let's just say I'm a card-carrying atheist for the purposes of the conversation. We'll just take that as axiomatic. It's hypothetical anyway. The message doesn't have to be transparent to the messenger. The messenger has some kind of intuitions, and especially if it's a politician, I mean, that's all intuitions. It's all personal relationships and handshaking and smiles and stuff, and just feeling something about your own relationship to language or something. So who knows what the message is, but we can at least see that Donald Trump is a kind of religio-political messenger, but he's also a thoroughgoingly archetypal symbolic figure. He is a trickster. He is a pan character. He is devious, mischievous, and etc. Now, how on earth could this happen to a morally upright country? Were we all that morally upright? Was the Declaration and the Constitution, did they amount to anything at all? Okay. Doubts ensue. Morale plummets and plummets and plummets and plummets. Why? Because this messenger did outrageous things, and he just keeps doing outrageous things. Why? To wake us up. Does he know that that's what he's doing? Does he know that this has all just been one big practical joke? I mean, maybe it's not important. The important thing is that posterity-wise, because this is going to be a large concern for our President Purusha is that fatigue, we can see fatigue. Okay, there is fatigue. I mean, he is a bulldozer. He's more of a bulldozer than my dad. I mean, geez. And my dad is like number one Donald Trump. I mean, this guy is, Konstantinos Fergadis it doesn't get more Donald Trump than that. I mean, I have never seen my dad feel such passion. And it's impressive. It is utterly compelling to anyone who sees it. Now, practical joke. Donald Trump's presidency? No. What is a practical joke is more along the lines of my bit about the Bangladesh hat and the China hat, and also the allegory that I just told about the guru and the watch. These are all examples of, historically, there's such a thing as figures as a kind of mystical tricksters, And if Donald Trump is written in history as this uniquely American sort of Nietzschean, beyond good and evil, mystical trickster, it fits, doesn't it? President Paramapurusha, it fits, doesn't it? It's sort of Norman Vincent Peale meets like Everything Solid Gold, meets like performance art. The Apprentice meets like everything is just so, it's like it's perfectly like it's like you're going, you know exactly what you're going for. And I guess that part of yourself I really identify with. I mean, like I said on a previous oratory about your dance party, and I heard on some morning shows, they're bashing your mental state because you wanted to do a dance party instead of a fucking town hall meeting. Why would President Donald Trump want to do a town hall meeting when we could just groove out to some disco tracks, right? I mean, you were, wait, you were running for office? Huh. Were you running for office at that? Okay. The point is, I lose track. Forgive me. My point is that, look, if we interpret the legacy and the raison d'etre of Donald Trump, the politician, we can read it a number of ways. If we read it in the serious, grave way, we see something that looks kind of scary, and it just keeps getting weirder. But if we look at it as a kind of mystical provocation of the polis, the P-O-L-I-S, the polis, mystical provocation of us, then, dear President Trump, now I will address you properly. Dear President Trump, you have found the limit. We say uncle, or we say mercy. We're tapping out. Your work is done here. You will go down in history as a relentless, in-your-face trickster who showed up as a messenger in order to shake the country to its core. Like my dear father says, you got to shake them up. The Donald Trump, he come up there, he shake them up. Sagapo, patero, baba, sagapo. Yeah, you guys shook us up. But we're Americans, we're Democrats, come on. You think you really think that you're gonna take pure human reason and throw it in the East River like it's yesterday's gangster? No. No. See, that's how aggressive men are. No, you're not. What you are is a trickster. President Donald Trump, you are a trickster and you're damn good at it. And we can look back on this. You can step down. You can retire gracefully. We will all let you off the hook all the way. Just accept that you're a great president for reasons that are entirely unique to yourself. You are as great a politician as any. As any. I mean, we'll put you up there with the noble ones and the despicable ones, and we'll scratch our heads and think, what is it? And if you just step down now, it kind of all resolves fairly elegantly, doesn't it? No more legal shit, legal battles. You can focus on your family and no, I'm not going to give you suggestions. No, Jesus. Yeah, see, this is the kind of thing that makes me religious, Mr. President, is because what men do is we tell other people what they can do. And we have all kinds of indirect ways of doing it. But it always comes out, here, let me tell you what you can do. But of course, I'm in my position and you are the president of the United States. So structurally, I stand in no real position of power. However, I stand in a position as an American citizen who's really, I came from America. I'm really into this country. Pretty much a lot of things, what it stands for. It goes through terrible religious and spiritual and just human tests and trials and suffering, all the ugliness. We have to take it on board, acknowledge it, and really get into it and learn from our mistakes, be willing to learn from our mistakes, because now I'm moralizing. I wasn't even a Boy Scout, but I guess I am now. Jim Comey, represent Jah Rastafari, 420.